Lisa, today we're going to have some fun as we demonstrate how to apply mental fitness to leadership development using a brainstorming process. First, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Wendy McManus with Connect to Potential. And as a leadership coach, I draw out the true genius in my clients so they become more confident, capable leaders who create stellar results.
And I'm Lisa Brewer, a leadership coach with Lisa Brewer Coaching. I help my clients to clarify their goals and then develop and implement plans which advance their careers and grow their confidence, their courage, and their joy. I am so excited to explore this with you, Wendy. I recently listened to a keynote that proposed that leaders plan how they will develop relationships with each individual on their team and how they'll help all their team members develop relationships with each other. And the idea of making SMART goals around this was so juicy to me.
Yeah, I love the intentionality of that idea of creating a detailed plan and measuring the effectiveness of it. I've always understood the importance of building those connections, but I haven't always been so deliberate about it. That's what feels really different to me.
I totally agree that deliberate nature is something a little different. We also want to bring one of the sage powers into this session, and the innovate power is perfect for generating a lot of ideas. So we'll use it to brainstorm potential ways of developing these deeper relationships.
That's a great idea. And when we brainstorm, just as a caution, our saboteurs are going to try to get us to focus on what's wrong. Whether it's our idea or somebody else's idea, the saboteur, the judge is going to be in there trying to tell you what's wrong with it. And so when we use the sage power of innovate, we intentionally look for what is at least 10% right about an idea and we build on it. So we're looking to generate as many ideas as possible, and at this stage, we're not worrying about whether the ideas are realistic or good. There's no judgment. And sometimes the craziest sounding idea can inspire a really strong idea. So the important thing here is to build a brick wall, a nice solid wall between idea generation and idea evaluation.
That is so important, that brick wall. It creates freedom and safety for people to name whatever comes to mind without feeling fear or of being shut down or being judged. It just allows creativity to soar. And as you said, there may be some outlandish ideas, but sometimes those crazy ideas lead to really doable and creative solutions.
Yeah, it's so true. So let's get started generating ideas for how to build stronger relationships between us and our teammates or between the teammates themselves. So, speaking from the position of the leader, between the leader and the teammates or amongst the teammates. And to do this, Lisa and I are going to use a very specific structure. Now, it might feel like the structure is restrictive, but it's actually designed to help keep the team focused on idea generation, not idea evaluation. Remember that brick wall. So it'll start with one person naming an idea, and then the next person will say, what I like about that idea is fill in the blank, and then they say what they like about it. They're just trying to find the 10% that they can agree with.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we clarify that we don't want you to lie. Don't say that you love an idea because you may not, but can you find that 10% that you do like? And that's what you name. And this is where the magic starts because once you say what you like about their idea, then you can build on it with your own idea, your own spin, and the creativity just really starts to roll.
Yeah. And then we just keep going with each person saying, what I like about that idea is, and then sharing the next idea. And we keep trying to build on the last idea. But at some point, if that direction just runs out of steam, somebody can introduce a whole new thread of ideas and the whole process starts all over again.
Yeah, and we're just going to give this a try. And we want you to know that this brainstorming is not scripted. We have no idea where this is going to go.
Yeah, we are flying without a net, folks. so let's see. I will get us started here, Lisa. Let me think. How about the idea of using Slack or Basecamp or Microsoft Teams or something like that to help everybody stay connected and maybe even encouraging some small talk.
I love that. I have so many Slack channels right now, and it really does add simplicity to
Mm,
conversations. And so, what I love about that is that direct conversation with people. And something that I think is really important is how often are you picking up a phone and talking to people
mm.
as opposed to sending a message of some kind?
Yeah, what I like about that is shifting and looking at all the different ways that we can communicate. So, what I like about that is looking at that variety. And maybe we can even add in like a weekly phone call with everybody jumping in. Like everybody's doing all this Zoom stuff. Maybe we actually kind of go old school and do a weekly phone call where everybody's just jumping in and it's like popcorn playing around on the phone.
Ah, what I love about that is that it's real. It's a little
Mm,
challenging at times, but it's real. And so, what that brings up for me is what about having team meetings on Zoom with breakout rooms so that
mm.
people can go into these smaller settings? And that's where you can start to get into really deep conversations and get to know people at a more authentic way than you can in sometimes a larger group.
Yeah, what I like about that is getting people into those smaller groups and really using the power of the technology. The Zoom breakout rooms are phenomenal for that. And I'm going to add to this. What about having like a themed question of the week? Maybe you have a weekly Zoom call where you do breakout sessions and there's a themed question for that week. And it could have something to do with business, but even better, have it be something to do about, my pets or my kids or my hobbies or something like that. So people really get to know each other.
Yeah, what I really like about that is that it brings in this element of getting to know people instead of as robotic members of a team, but who are they as a person? And what about virtual lunches? Once a week, maybe get a
Mm,
triad of people and rotate it so that you almost have this weekly lunch virtually now, but an
yeah.
opportunity to just kind of kick back in a non work setting.
Yeah, what I like about that, gosh, I've got like four ideas that I want to play with right now. So where do I go with this? Um, okay, what I like about that is this idea again of getting into those smaller groups and having that like non-work time to get to know each other as people. And what if we put the power out to the team to say, how do you want to organize these weekly lunches? You could even call them like a lunch and learn, a lunch and learn where you have a speaker come in, but instead of having a speaker come in, you have themes and the team actually comes up with what the different themes are and who's going to have lunch with who. So it's not all coming from the leader, it's like generated from the team.
What I like about that is it almost makes me think of a mastermind and how
Mm,
you're pulling from you're crowdsourcing the solution. You're really coming up with tapping into the potential of each individual. And while this isn't completely related, it makes me think actually of just having regularly scheduled meetings with the people on your team to just have touch points and find out what are they working on, what's working effectively for them, where do they need some help, what would they like to explore and do differently, but just having that opportunity for a regular dialogue so that you really understand your team.
yeah. What I like about that, I'm going to pick up on two words, two phrases, regular dialogue and understand the team. And what I want to play with is the notion of having each member of the team own something that they contribute every week. Like, for example, what if somebody says, I'm going to be the person that contributes the quote of the week? And somebody else says, I'm going to be the person that contributes the joke of the week. And somebody else says, I'm the person that's going to contribute the recipe of the week. And so, like, each person picks something that they're interested in and passionate about, and they contribute to the bigger conversation. Again, the non work related conversation.
Yeah. And so what I like about that is there's this non-work conversation and you're giving people responsibility. And
Yes.
so you're giving them an opportunity to practice public speaking, to stand up in front of the team, which makes me think about how could this process be used to further develop your team? So how could you use this to really understand where an individual wants to grow in their leadership and in their career and use this as a platform to enable that?
Yeah, what I like about that is that career growth, that path. I talk to so many leaders, especially in smaller organizations, where they have difficulty having those conversations about helping people grow because there maybe aren't a whole lot of paths available to them, different from bigger organizations. So I like that. And what about having the team develop what they're interested in developing? Maybe they start their own Toastmaster group, or they join Toastmasters together, or they start their own book club, or letting the team decide, hey, we want to start some sort of personal or leadership development initiative, and here's what we're interested in as a group.
What I like about that is it creates this sense of team spirit because they're all working together to find what's important to all of us. And depending on the size of the team, if it's like a massive team, you can almost break it up into little subcommittees. So you can have this big goal that the whole team is working on, and then you can break off into smaller groups to work on an aspect of it that people are really passionate about.
Yeah, what I like about that is that notion of personal choice, that you don't force people to get involved in something that they're really not interested in. I mean, some things, yes, you have to tell your employees, here's what we're going to do together as a team, and you have to prod them a little bit. But when you start talking about these kind of extra opportunities, really important to give people choice so that they feel fully invested. And I'm looking at the clock, Lisa, and I'm wondering if we should sort of wrap this up. It feels like we could keep going and going.
I
What
think
do you
that
think?
makes, yeah, that was so much fun. And I think that it's right. We need to move on. So, what we do now is since we've generated all of these ideas, the next step is to move to the other side of the brick wall and to start evaluating them. Then we can choose the ideas that we want to put into our plan, build smart goals around them, and that gives us the opportunity to assess, to learn, and to pivot and move to where we need to move so that we're
Mhm.
continually strengthening the relationships and our teams.
Yeah. And with that, I think we should wrap it up. Lisa and I both coach leaders and aspiring leaders to help them maximize results. We also offer mental fitness training programs that can be used by individuals or by teams to increase productivity, improve relationships, and create more peace of mind. And in fact, these programs are especially powerful for building strong relationships among teammates. We'd love to talk with you about this. You can reach Lisa at lisabrewercoaching.com.
And you can reach Wendy at connecttopotential.com. And we hope that we've inspired you to experiment with this innovation practice and see how it works for your team.